Tappei has just released Arc 7 Chapter 70, and this video will be a summary of the chapter. I highly recommend you check out my Arc 7 Chapter 69 summary. Anyways, let's begin. The one thing in asking Grandpa Noel for the poison was certainty. As you can imagine, he wasn't given any notable poisons which could kill you instantly. Therefore, there was no miracle drug for use. All he could do was mix medicines which could then disrupt the blood flow, killing the user. It would cause pain and then absolute death. This was something that was useful for Subaru. Subaru was someone who was becoming lazy. He would immediately start thinking about starting over. Subaru was slowly becoming a monster. Already, the memory of when Subaru's arms and legs were fully grown were beginning to fade. However, a change like this was a betrayal to himself and for those who accepted him. Subaru comes to, and Wise asks him why he looks so pale. Subaru, who collapsed on the floor, was picked up by Wise, and Wise helped him out. Subaru cleans himself up. We see that Subaru uses his poison to ensure his death. However, during the Sparker event, Subaru would usually be killed by the witch beast he was fighting. However, when there were times where Subaru couldn't die, he would then use the poison pill. Subaru verbally states that it's his fault. After all, he is the person that can do the most, and if he fails, then how can he expect anyone else to perform? Subaru is responsible as a person. After all, he is Kenichi's son. The drawbridge starts moving, creating a large noise like last time, and Subaru shudders at the thought of Todd's arrival, the person he never wanted to see again. Subaru mutters that he cannot let the dead bodies pile up, but he didn't understand how it happened. Todd and Arakiya arrived on the island. Subaru's memories of Todd are clear. Arakiya was defeated by Priscilla, and then someone helped save Arakiya. If Arakiya is with Todd, that means Todd is the one that freed Arakiya from the city of Guaran. Subaru then shouts out in rage, stating that Todd is lying. After all, Todd said he wanted to go back to his fiancée, so why was he here at Gunning-Hive? Subaru then asks Wise for his help, stating that he needs to prevent the messengers from coming to the island. The scene changes. Subaru's only power is returned by death. It was clearly malfunctioning ever since he arrived in Wallachia. The worst experience was the 10 seconds at the Red Rory Castle. 10 seconds that seemed not to save Subaru, but to make him despair. Then afterwards, at the Gladiator Island, the timings given to Subaru was very short. This time too, the time given to Subaru was about 30 minutes. So Subaru has 30 minutes to rewrite the future. Subaru ponders on what to do. He instructed Wise to try and delay the messengers, but told him to not cause a fight. After all, Arakiya or Todd would kill him easily. Subaru remembers the people and he realizes they bled from their eyes and mouth, and wonders if it's poison gas or magic. Everyone died, including the guards. There were two exceptions, Todd and Subaru. Subaru was still affected by whatever it was, and Todd was fine. If it was poison gas, then maybe Todd took the antidote. Or maybe Arakiya was using magic. After all, she wasn't around when it occurred. Subaru states that he checked the bodies of people and realized that he didn't see 3 corpses, namely Gustav, Arakiya, or Cecilus. Subaru can't say if they died or not since he didn't actually see their bodies. Well, Arakiya, who's working with Todd, is most likely safe, but Gustav and Cecilus, who hold unusual positions, Subaru can't say what happened to them, or if they're involved. However, then Subaru just had an idea, the curse law. However, Subaru knew that the curse law was a threat and didn't actually exist. After all, he challenged Gustav, and Gustav never invoked the curse on him. Subaru also realizes that the guards were all dead, and since Gustav doesn't want to needlessly kill people, it seems like Gustav may not even be involved in the massacre. Subaru pinpoints that Todd and Arakiya are most likely behind it. Subaru wonders why the effect was so weak on himself. Subaru ran through the possibilities. Was it because he was a child? No, because Tanza died. Was it because he was talking about escaping? No, since Wise died. Was it because he was a different race? No, Edora died. Other possibilities cropped up in Subaru's mind. Was it because he was from a different world? Was it because he was from Lagunica? Having a connection to the witch? Was it because he was under the effects of infantilization? Was it because he had a contract with Beatrice? Subaru doesn't know, but he is different from the others. Someone then calls out to Subaru. It's Cecilus. Subaru calls out to him, and Cecilus says that the new people have arrived aren't the new people for the Sparker event, and Subaru states that they seem like they are emissaries. Cecilus thinks that this is actually good news for Subaru, since they should come with information on what's happening outside of the island. Subaru wonders if Cecilus died somewhere where he couldn't find them in the last loop, but as Subaru thinks, time is running out. Cecilus states that it seems like something is on Subaru's mind, and Subaru states that something bad will happen on the island, but he cannot say what will happen. Cecilus, hearing Subaru's dark tone, actually welcomes the trouble, and Subaru states that he isn't joking and everyone is in trouble. Cecilus says that he's glad that Subaru is not joking, but states that he will not take Subaru's side unconditionally. However, Cecilus states that this is a stage, and Subaru can convince Cecilus to take his side. Cecilus continues, stating that the audience will watch them and see if Cecilus himself can be charmed. Seeing this, Subaru had a gut feeling that this was the real Cecilus Sigmund. He was a strange being, believing that the world itself had a will and was watching Cecilus's every move. Hearing this, Subaru shouted a proclamation. He will make Cecilus one of his, and he will use Cecilus. Cecilus stated that he liked Subaru's recklessness, however Cecilus started bleeding from the nose. Subaru then asked if Cecilus was okay, but Cecilus was nonchalant, despite bleeding from the eyes and nose now. It was a horrid sight, but Cecilus never changed. He didn't seem afraid of death. Cecilus then lays down and does not move. Subaru understands what this means. Cecilus is dead. Subaru then walks through the island. That's one less candidate, which is now ticked off the list. As Subaru walks through the island, he sees Tanza's dead body, and he apologizes to Tanza. After all, he didn't tell Tanza about what was going to happen. Subaru then continues to walk around the island. Everyone is dead, even the witch beasts in the cages. As Subaru stumbles around, he gets called from behind. "What are you doing here?" the voice says. Subaru turns around and looks at the Grim Reaper himself, Todd. Subaru gives Todd the middle finger as Todd pulls out his knife. Subaru understands. After all, Todd most likely didn't expect anyone to survive, or thought that this was an ambush. After all, Subaru waited here since he knew Todd would come. Subaru would only be able to talk to Todd, but Todd is someone that wouldn't give any hints out, so what can Subaru do? He needs to get at least one piece of information. Yes, just one piece of information that will make Subaru proud. Step by step the distance closed, and Subaru knew that as the distance shrunk, he wouldn't be surprised if Todd just stabbed him to death. So what could Subaru ask? Was it Todd who committed the massacre? No, this isn't worth asking. Who survived? This isn't worth asking and doesn't make sense. Where is Arakiya? This is something Subaru wants to know, but Todd wouldn't answer it. How is Gustav? Again, just like Arakiya, a waste of time to ask. maybe to ask about poison gas. However, where Subaru was with Cecilus was on high ground where it was windy, so it couldn't be poison gas. Subaru wondered if it could be magic. However, Subaru said the word curse. Immediately, Todd went pale and closed the distance, stabbing Subaru in the chest. Subaru collapsed and tried to use his poison pill, but due to the blood coursing through his throat, he spat the package out, and Todd picked it up and inspected it. With that, Subaru muttered that he got one, and he died. The curse that shouldn't exist was the reason behind everyone dying. And with that, the chapter ends. So Subaru managed to gain the one piece of information by saying the word curse or curse rule, and because he saw Todd's immediate reaction of going pale and lunging in for the kill, he realized that was what it was. And so I actually really did enjoy this chapter. It's interesting that Cecilus actually did die. Todd is most likely unaffected by the curse because maybe he's not a gladiator or on the island, so him and people who are outsiders are not affected. And the reason why the curse reacts so slowly to Subaru is because he still has all of the entangled curses in his body from Arc 2 when all of the dogs bit him. So I like that chapter.